everybody joining in for AnimeInkArt Live Talks. I'm your host, Lizzie. So, hope you guys having a good start to your weekend. Hey, Ludi, hope you're doing good. So, for those that may not know what this is AnimeInkArt Live Talks, where we talk to different creators in the community about their journey in content creation, how we can support each other, and all of that. So, today we have special guest BBI Mermaid, amazing cosplayer, content creator, and we're gonna have a great time. So let's get them on and let's get it started. Hopefully, Instagram's been good so far. Hopefully, it stays that way. But any questions and it takes some time, just let me know, okay?
Hi.
You look so pretty.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How are you today?
I am good. Thank you for asking.
I just want to say thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show. I really appreciate it.
Of course, no problem. I'm actually at a convention. Well, I was at a convention. So it was interesting. Came well, kind of just came from it and run upstairs trying to charge my a little bit. So hence why I'm still in cosplay.
Awesome. Hopefully, the convention's going well so far. Which one is it?
So this is Puerto Rico Comic Con. It's my first time being here, so it is just trying to see what's the difference between this one because I've always wanted to do at least a cosplay convention here in the Caribbean. I'm usually always stateside based when it comes to conventions, so I'm like, let me give my Caribbean people some love.
Well, I'm glad you get to do that. And for people who may not know who you are, introduce yourself.
So, hi everyone. My name is BBA Mermaid. I'm actually based in the Virgin Islands, well, the British Virgin Islands. So, I'm not an American. Like I said, I'm a Caribbean girl.
And the first thing I wanted to ask you is what got you into creating and cosplaying and what made you share it? Because it's one thing to just cosplay, it's another thing to share it with the world.
Oh, no problem. So, I think my whole joy of actually wanted to cosplay came from the whole dressing up aspect. I enjoyed dressing up. Like for me growing up, Little Mermaid was my Disney princess. My mom would always remind me how much I used to sit down on the living room couch and I would put like a towel around my head to pretend I had very long, long hair. And it was the iconic scene when she's on the rock and she's like, part of your do that. I used to run behind the couch and do that prop stance thing. And it just started to evolve a little bit more and more. Um, Cosplaying or actually doing, you know, this. It's not a regular thing here in the Virgin Islands. We usually do it just once a year, which is Halloween, typical. I did it for a Halloween boat trip party, and I did Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, and everybody was so um marked by it because usually the cosplays that will be the typical like baseball bat, you know, um, pops, things like that. And here I am showing my full of and people vibe with it. People actually enjoyed it and like it. And then when I came back from my undergrad, I met up with, a couple of my friends and they actually introduced me to my first convention, which was in Canada, Fan Expo Canada. And from I kind of started evolving more and more into it. I think the pandemic has really pushed it because to me, it's a way that I I want to. It's like a passion, but it's also like a stress reliever for me because I do have a very stressful and demanding job, and I look at this as I'm going to step away from me and I'm going to go into my fantasy, feel nice, feel love, feel creative. And it just kept going more and more.
That's awesome. And one thing that's near and dear to my heart, especially after starting Anime Inkart, is knowing like as a West Indian now, there's other people that like openly share that they're blurs. It's just that feeling and just that connection. That doesn't matter which cosplayer, wherever I come across as West Indian, there's always like that connection, like, okay, we understand. And I wanted to ask because of that, How was it growing up for you? Like, in the Caribbean, being a blerd, and how is it now to find other like-minded people that do it? Because I think for a while we probably thought, oh, there's no.
Well, the whole concept of blurred was not really something that I actually knew about until I got into knowing Navy, honestly, to take because I'm a black girl growing up and I enjoy, the anime scene. And people looked at me, even people who I went uni with, they were like, you don't come off as a geek to me. And I'm like, what the hell is this would be supposed I don't, so I never really thought that concept of a blurred, honestly, to tell you the truth. But again, it's more of pushing the envelope and say that hey, anybody can appreciate the whole culture. It doesn't matter what you look like. We're out there. I'm showing myself. This is me. Hey. Yeah, and people are slowly getting into it and respecting it. One of the biggest things that I felt good about was my mom. My mom always kind of like a little judgmental. Like she used to think that I was crazy. Like, why are you dressing up like this? She considers that be revealing, but overall, she started to accept it. And unfortunately, she was supposed to come here, Puerto Rico, because she wanted to actually experience the convention and appreciate the things that I like. So she wanted to get into it a little bit more just to understand. And unfortunately, issues with her flight. So, and there's no other way for she to get here because all the other flights were booked out, which was quite unfortunate. But, you know, so yeah, football confidence is slowly coming around.
That's great to hear. And I actually wanted to ask like being over there in the Caribbean, like the Virgin Islands in the Caribbean, I know that that scene is popping up now and there's different events, but how is it different in the Caribbean compared to the United States? Because I know like you had the interview with Navy and you're talking about that where like sometimes they're like international, you still have to travel, it's not local. So how is the scene over there and how is it evolved, man?
I find it slowly evolving. It's not, you can't really compare to like what I'm seeing in the US. It's much more on a lower scale. Puerto Rico, again, it's my first time being here, and I'm quite surprised to see the level of details and content and celebrities that's even here. Which was mind blowing to me. It's given me a little bit of anime NYC vibes. Yeah. And as time continue progressing, they'll get more and more into it. I know for sure there's one in Trinidad and Tobago. Maybe that will be in my future soon. There's also AnimeCon. I've always wanted to go AnimeCon. What is with Dragon Con? And I'm that type of person that I'm gonna buy my tickets in advance, especially if it's a sale. I already have the tickets for Dragon Con. I don't blame reasons. Also, uh, there's also one that my girl SJ Slay cosplay stuck out in the Bahamas. So that even that is on my bucket list to go check the
I it's that's awesome to hear that like people like that's happening and that's being more accepted and the one your first off your cosplays all your content is really amazing, like even the ones I saw before I did research like because I know about your content for a long time. I'm like, how did you do that? Like how how did you do this one? I love your cosplay and everything that you do so much. And you're very big on like mermaid content and fantasy content as well as different games and anime and stuff like that. And I wanted to ask, when it comes to like fantasy and mermaid, how long have you been interested in those things and what sparked like the creativity to cosplay them? Because it is a theme and something that you really love to do in your cosplays.
Well, the mermaid one, again, because it's in my name. One of my friends actually told me, it's so weird. You have BBI Mermaid as your name and you don't have any mermaid cosplays. And I'm like, that is so true. But it's a vision in my head of what I wanted for my mermaid. I actually want so badly and so desperately to do underwater photography for my mermaid. And of let's let's do it in this particular way. So oh, as Jay said, she's the cosplay coordinator, but not in we don't um the fantasy I do dabble in the fantasy, but it's mostly I think B-Doc kind of Brittany that elbowed more into me. I do love fantasy. Like for example, I always love like the never ending story, and that's just like my favorite, you know. And it's just trying to see what does this particular like from the different selections that she'll create like a list and say pick one. I'll go through the list like, oh, this seems interesting. How can I make that creative twist? And sometimes it's frustrating because it's not coming out the way that I have it envisioning in my head. And I honestly, sometimes I even take these photos like 3 or 4 times until I get it right. I just did like a collab with a creator in Australia. She does headpieces and I love her art so much, and I had a struggle with her beautiful headpiece for some odd reason. My camera was failing me, but I got it and I sent it to her and she likes it and improves it. I was like, oh, thank you.
And that's one other thing. I love when you do like the collabs, especially with B-Doc. B-Doc always has like the most courageous stuff.
Yeah, they're so amazing. Like they push I credit them so much for pushing the envelope when it comes to like the creativity. Cause I'm like, I would have never think about these particular concepts and they just make it seem so easy how they just dash things out.
It's true. And I wanted to ask, how has doing these collabs, because I know you do them with B-Doc, you've done it with other creators. You had the opportunity to do it with Sapphire Senpai. Shout out to her when you did the collab, and then you got to do the Greek mythology lab with collab with other Caribbean creators. So how has that like helped you creatively, like or improve on things, or if it's for community, like how has that benefited you throughout your like your journey in content creation?
It's as I said, well, the whole point of um the ones with the Caribbean cosplayers with the Greek mythology, I I wanted to actually reach out to other Caribbean cosplayers out there and see who actually is there. And again, I reached out to SJ and she actually helped me introduced me to several Caribbean cosplayers, a lot of them from the Bahamas. I reached out to Empress Jasmine. Empress Jasmine also introduced me to other. They're American, but they're still have Caribbean roots, which was perfectly fine for me. And the things that we were able to create that Greek mythology and I credit again SJ because I had like a whole plethora of what do you think about this? You should do this. I love the collaborations because it's introducing me to a whole plethora of different and amazing talented cosplayers that I would have probably never even been able to like know and see their content. So I hope it's great. And we follow each other, we stay close and we stay connected and then we just keep collabing, more and more. And it's like a whole family reunion when you are, collabing and you sit and they're like
It's definitely like that. Like I'm slowly doing collabs sometimes when I get to cosplay, and it's like that, especially when you see them at on conventions and you collab with them. You're like, oh, I love your stuff. Let's do it again. Like it's great to have that.
Conventions is a great place to actually, meet up individuals that, as you said, that you've collabed with or you've been in contact with internet on the internet. It's like again like a family reunion.
And I wanted to ask about some of the props that you've used because like you have a lot of like fairy looks and like different looks where you have like different ears, you have the headpieces, and I wanted to say when it comes to the headpieces, because you've been able to collaborate with amazing people like Verida and other creators. Was that always an idea that you had to like wear headpieces with a lot of your cosplays?
No, it wasn't. It's just kind of slowly evolved into that.
Yeah.
Um, again, I enjoyed, but it's a very headpieces, and I bought some of them, and then I felt even more privileged when she just came to me and she was like, I appreciate she appreciate me assisting and doing a couple stuff, and she liked the work that I did, and she just asked me if I would like to be part of her team, and I felt so honored and appreciative of her wanting me to be on her team because I never really thought that I was actually good enough. I do have that, I don't think that I'm good enough or people see value in the things that I do. And then here is like a small business owner actually sees value in it. It actually gives me a little bit more boost up of confidence that, keep going, keep doing what it is that you're doing. It's going to you know, people are noticing you. It's great.
Well, like SJ said, you're more than good enough. You're amazing in this space, and we need you in this space. I just want to say that.
She's gonna say that because she don't have a choice. She's my friend.
That is true though. That's true though. I mean, but it's true though. I mean, see, when you have such a sweet soul, and from what I've heard from people, is like they always happy to see you, especially navies, always happy to see you. And yeah, we have the same mutual love when it comes to that man, because he's the hype man for everybody. I swear.
This your girly in me.
I can understand. And I wanted to ask, when it comes to sorry, I had the thought. One second. Um, but I wanted to ask for your cosplays. What are some of the things that you've experimented with? Because some people do foam, some do face painting, some people create their own pieces. How many different forms of cosplay have you done, and what do you think that you're gonna experiment with in the future? Because some people like to do like 3D printing and all these other things.
Okay, so I started off with closet cosplays. Um, Great thing by the way for you wanted to do looks and you just can't afford the cosplays or the sewing thing is last minute something. I did some sewing, I've done body painting, I've done some prosthetics. Um, I would like to do some more prosthetics, more of that 3D realistic vibes. But one I'm interested in doing right now is with the EVA foam. Um, I unless I'm in the US, I can't afford to ship a foam because how it works for us, it's more like a forwarding shipping. So it ships to the US and it goes through mail carrier and then it comes to us in the Virgin Islands. And they charge us not only by the product, because we have to provide them with the invoice, but it also goes and I'm very fair the experimental with EVA form, and I'm messing up. I understand it's a process and you have to learn. I am more scared of messing it up rather be with friends that are awesome with the EVA form and they're actually show because I find I learn and adapt very quickly when I see people doing it and they show it to me versus me experimenting.
Yeah.
So that's why I do love and appreciate collaborating with individuals because those who are real and actually do want to see other people grow and learn, they will show you.
Yeah. That's very true. And is it an amazing thing to like try new things, and for you, you've been lucky. Well, first, because you love to travel, so you're always traveling, and as well as you've been able to have that privilege, to with some maneuvering, because it's gonna be difficult, especially trying to travel to the U.S. I know for my family members, it's a whole process. So I wanted to ask, what was that first like U.S. convention that made you feel like, okay, I need to come back to these U.S. conventions, and what does the process look like? For people that may not know how difficult it may be sometimes, like from the Caribbean traveling and trying to figure out which convention to go in the States, like how do you determine that, or how do you find ways to make it easier when you're starting to travel out?
I don't know if it makes it easier, but me, anytime I'm traveling and I'm going to one, don't go alone. Also always go with people. So like for me, I travel with my friends, and we would usually just have like a list of conventions, the conventions, and then we just kind of pick around the times when it's going to be around, because when we went to Fan Expo, which was in August, we were hit with uh, one of our strongest storms ever, which is Hurricane Irma. And then we were stuck in Puerto Rico for like a good 2 weeks before we actually get home. So we kind of out at in a foreign place. And then you're low on money. You ensure that you get enough, you save enough to get home. Then you're stuck in Puerto Rico, and you know, then you finally make it home. I think we had to charter a boat, which and they charge us like 2 grand to, so exactly. I have to call my aunt, but yeah. So we try our very hardest not to travel during the peak hurricane season. Although again, driving con is you can imagine my dad when yeah, I'm going to Atlanta and he watching me like you we basically do those kind of analysis, and then it's more and then it comes down to the content, like what's showing, what's available, the artists, the things like that. We kind of narrow down to the various interests of everybody in the group, and then we're like going to this one, we're going to that one. So far, the most that we've been to was not anime, sorry, was on New York Comic Con. We've done that more than 30. But want to branch off and experiment with other conventions to see what they're like. So for example, my friends went to BlurCon for the first time. I went to BlurCon. So then they were like, okay, we want to see what it's like and check it out. They did, they enjoyed themselves. Hey, Blue. Uh, so uh, I think I'll keep that for now. They do plan to go to other conventions, and I show them here, um, C2E2 in Chicago. I think you guys will like that because they're more into like the tech and comic stuff. I to again the cosplay vibe. So we want to ensure that there's a convention that will speak to everybody and everybody would enjoy. Because it won't be cool that you go to a convention and it has nothing that you can vibe with.
Yeah, that's true. And I also want to say you've been doing very good with the interviews, especially at Geeks and News. And for people that don't know about Geeks and News, they've been doing amazing when it comes to like media content and representation for those in the Virgin Islands. So I wanted to ask, how did that get started? How did you become involved? And how has that experience been, interviewing people? I know it's very nerve-wracking. I can understand, but you've been doing so well at it.
If you only know that that's the second time I actually did interviews. The first one was Anime NYC, but there's a long story. Geeks and News actually belongs to my friend, it's your boy Blake, and he is the mastermind behind any of the content that video wise that we kind of produce. He actually helped me a lot when I first started with my photos and editing them. He was like, "Go off, young one," things that he threw me, and I evolved it, and then So um, when we were at Anime NYC, I was like, you know what? I want to try and see what it's like. And I kind of totally forgot about it until we were going to Blurred, and then posted the the fo- um the forgotten clips at NYC, and then I'm hearing myself like, oh my god. No. So that was like my little wake up call. Like, okay, I can do this again, but I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. I'm not gonna as loud and as crazy as I did for the episode. So I think the Wonderful Bird was more toned down a bit. Maybe I don't know. I do enjoy it. It's something new, and it's more of challenging myself to just be involved a little bit more, which is pretty exciting. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for what I saw, you did a good job, and you know, you're just so nice and like welcoming to everybody. So I think that's if you continue to do it, it's definitely gonna be a good thing.
Thank you. I'm trying. Practice, it, you know, listening and just questioning people off about their business.
I would say that's always the hard part because especially when it's in public because it's like you never know, and so for you, like, what was that like navigating it, especially at a con?
I hope they say yes.
Yes.
Because it's hard. It's hard because you're asking them, can would you mind doing an interview? You know, you're stopping what you're doing, which is selling you off to talk to me, asking questions, and you're like, are you done? I can go back more money.
I definitely understand. But once you get that yes, it's like I got you.
At me, which is great. You know, I learn a lot from the stuff them that they're selling. If especially if it's like for example here, I was walking through the artist alley and this book, like it spoke to me, and I was oh my god, I want this book, and then find out he's Hispanic. Like god, I like awesome because this book were enchanting, and she got inspiration from Alice in Wonderland and couple of um, things that happened to her life, but the book, the cover is so captivating, and I'm like, no man, you need to bring it. I guarantee, I'm sure people in reading this story. I know more about that on Geeks and News. Ah,
Oh, and I wanted to say congratulations because you have your cosplay calendar for 2025, and I wanted to ask, what was that process like starting it, and how does it feel to have your own calendar? That's a major accomplishment, like just to see yourself on the calendar with all your looks. So how do you feel, and how did you start the process?
um, so one, my friends was like, I'm going to take all the pictures that you have and I'm going to create a calendar. And I was like, "Eh." I'm like, you know what? Because you most likely you'll create a calendar with all my weird looks. And I don't want that. Let me do one for you. And and just you know, they they posted, people that were like, "Ooh, I want one," you know, and it just kind of slowly evolved from that. And then I was like, okay, since this was like a great experience, let me create another one. And that one, the second one was more on the fantasy because I was doing a lot of fantasies, and that this one actually was a little bit more different because they actually have three cosplay looks that I'd never posted and I would not post. And it's not any book is just to create that little exclusivity for them. So let them know you are special and I appreciate you supporting me.
That's awesome. And for people that may want the calendar, where can they get the calendar?
Um, which is kind of unfortunate. So I do have I don't really buy like in bulk. I just have like a small quantity. I think I probably have like two left.
Awesome.
Um if somebody actually do want one, and I'm coming to a convention, you could message me and I could probably print some more and give them. Um, because here in the Virgin Islands we don't do like the American apps like PayPal, Cash App more. So it's quite difficult for me to actually receive money. Oh yeah. Or like that is transaction. My calendar isn't expensive. It's very cheap. It's just $20. So which comparing to what I see for other cosplay calendars is quite um, big.
Honestly, that's quite reasonable, honestly.
Yeah, I can't see myself spending no offense to them, I sure they do a lot when it comes to their looks and their shoots, but I seriously can't see me paying $75 plus for a calendar. I'm sorry. No.
That's the Caribbean and West Indies, and they'll say, "Well, we're paying the salt." But I understand. But no, I'm just very happy that you have a calendar because your looks are worthy of that. Your cosplay looks are worthy of that. And I actually want to ask, when it comes to your cosplay, what is the process sometimes, especially like when you're creating like the original characters that either whether it's for the collabs or some of like your fantasy looks or other looks? Because what I notice about your content, like even if it's like characters that are known, you always have a twist to it. But when it comes to like the fantasy and like the horror, like the vampire, like you really go like into a detail to make sure that your original characters stand out. So, what does that process look like for you when you're trying to create those looks specifically?
I basically pull out whatever it is that I have in my closet and just no, well, first of all, I think when it comes to a lot of the fan looks, again, because sometimes I pick creatures that I've never heard of before, and I just um, and I honestly go to Pinterest and just look at the various pictures on that particular look, and I'm like, oh, I like this. I like how this is at, and I like how this is it. And I would sometimes merge my looks together and create something with whatever I have in my closet. And I'll probably go ahead and purchase a couple accessories that I know that would probably tie the look together, honestly, to tell you the truth. Vampires, I always love vampires. If I was a mythical, you'll think it's a mermaid. Okay, I should say this. If I was a land creature, it would be a vampire. If it was
Yes.
is on any way that I can make it, and I find vampires are like sexy and alluring and dark and mysterious. So I very hardest of how I could pull these different elements together and create a badass vampire that, you know, will seduce you and something.
I mean, to be honest, you have a point there. I have not seen an ugly vampire. You gotta put there. I'm not like I don't know in the comments. I have not seen an ugly vampire. So like, but duly noted. And those vampire looks are amazing as well. Like I said, all of your looks are so amazing. I just love when people like attention to detail, and that's what I see in your content. And I'm very expressive of seeing people's content sometimes. I'm like, oh my god, I got like what is it? I'm like, oh my god, like Navy kind of. I'm on. I'm like, but yeah, definitely. And I wanted to ask, what are some of the goals that you have for your content? It could be long term or short term.
Um, I wouldn't. Sorry, unfortunately, I can't really think of some goals. I'm just doing it for fun. Again, it's kind of like a little stress reliever for me. So I can't really think of I have this particular goal at the current moment. It's just all fun right now for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. That's fair. That's a good answer, honestly. And I wanted to ask, how do you like balance, your content creating with your real life? And I know sometimes for us, experience overwhelming moments or burnout. So I know for you, you have your family, you're a marine biologist, you have your you do your cosplay. So how do you try to balance everything to the best of your ability?
I well, first of all, I don't try to make it as if I have to post. Like I know some individuals will be like, "Oh my God, I haven't posted so long. I have to make a post." I don't. If I post, great. If I don't post, I do have individuals that will reach out to me and just ask me, "Hey, is everything all right?" And I appreciate that. And I'm like, I'm a dog. This let me top priority. Cosplay is a hobby. It's for fun. It's for that stress reliever and that creativity. It doesn't make money for me. It drains money up to me. Once you know the priorities between them, it would save you a lot of headache in the long run. My job again, as I said, is very stressful and demanding. Once I leave work, as soon as I hit that door, work is out of my head and my daughter is my number one priority. I pick back up work once I hit that door to go inside that building. It's more of the establishing of boundaries. I don't have a relationship, so I don't have to worry about that particular aspect of my life. So it's more of establishing that boundaries and figuring out what's the priority, what it is that you want out of life, and just navigate towards that.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing because it helps when you do have down periods and you're like, okay, well, I can prioritize this. It's fine. It's my hobby. Because I know for some people that's very hard that they're going through hard times and then they're like, they feel like they're obligated to the content, but if you're not okay, then you can't do the content. So I'm glad that, you have that understanding and you know what to prioritize at the particular moment.
Plus, again, when I'm not, once I'm not cosplaying, I'm playing games. I'm playing Genshin. I'm to Hoyoverse, Genshin. So, first I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna do this cosplay. And I'm playing Genshin.
I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, like I do have a collab to do and I haven't done it as yet. Not that I don't want to. It's just the prior is then here I'm here at Puerto Rico. So it's like it will be done. I guarantee you, don't worry, it will be done. So as soon as it's late.
No, that's definitely relatable. You're just like, it's gonna get done. It doesn't have to be today. Like we have another day. I get the Yeah, I've been in the same boat where it's just like, okay, the deadline is this day. It'll be at least a day before or 2 days. This is today. Today. This is all right. But I understand. And one of the questions that I asked, and you've been very supportive to everybody that you've been in contact with in the during your time in this community. Even for me, in the short time that you met me, I just want to thank you for that. And the question I usually ask is, what do we do well so far in this community, like the blurred, Black nerd community, to support each other? What can we do better? Because I know we're not a perfect community, and I always ask because everybody has different opinions on it based on their experience.
Yeah. Ah, sometimes even just a simple comment goes a long way to individuals. I know not everybody can actually support you financially, but just those words of encouragement again goes a very long way for a lot of individuals because you don't know how hard they actually work on their content, whether if it's editing, whether if it's cosplay, whether it is, creating that form. Just let them know that, hey, I like your work, even if you don't like still. But seriously, just I think work then goes a long way, for individuals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Like, comment, share. Yeah.
That's true, and especially because I know sometimes, especially in the cosplay community, I know for some people, I just post my content and do what I have to do. I try not to get too much into everything, but I know for some people it could be competitive or like gatekeeping, and sometimes, not all the time. But I don't know if you ever had those experiences in the community.
Oh, of course, I not um. You do have the negativism. You do have, if again, as I said earlier, the real ones that will be the ones who will actually share and help because they do want to see other people grow in their art. They would literally share whatever it is that you do, whatever it is that they do. If you ask them, they will share. And you'll see that they will actually have problem with it. Why gatekeep unless this is something that you develop and you don't want nobody else to know about it. I have no idea. But yeah, we're all trying to learn from each other. We're all trying to build. We all should be spreading love and joy with everyone. Hi, Navy, darling.
And one thing I love about one thing I love about you is just your love for travel and how often you travel and how long. And sometimes you do document when you travel in your content as well. So, how long have you loved traveling, and how has that affected when you share the content sometimes?
So I travel a lot for work. And because of my work travels, I would extend that into my personal travels. Um, So that's one. And then for other times is I want to go to a different destination and I'm going and I will just save up the money and go. So like I do have another page which is Ashley Travels. I have not populated that for a while, unfortunately, but my motto for that is live, love, laugh, work, save, travel. And I find that's what I do. That's my life right now. I work, I save my money, and I travel. I have one life, YOLO, anything can happen. I'm going to ensure that I live my life to the fullest and I'm happy and I'm content. And this is how I chose my path, and there's no regrets in it. So if I want to travel, travel.
I mean, honestly, you gotta use your PTO. You gotta live your life. So I love that for you. And what is like one of the best places that you've traveled to? That probably is a hard question, but I'm curious to know.
The best place to travel. Um, I would say the best place that I traveled. Mm, mm. Um, so I traveled to my two farthest destinations. I really enjoyed it, which was in Australia. And I also traveled to Bali. They had two different significant meanings for me. Um, One was Australia was always a kind of a place that I was always fearful of. Yeah. And then when I get to go is like it's not as bad as I thought it was. And the place is extremely beautiful. Yeah. Bali was a place of acceptance and just letting things go. You know, just embrace life and love life and all the things that's it's serving. So yeah. And again, the countryside is extremely beautiful. So
It's awesome. I'm sorry to keep getting kicked out. I don't know what IG's doing. It keeps changing every like it keeps changing like every 2 weeks or so. There's an update, but hopefully it doesn't keep kicking you out. And I I wanted to ask, when it comes to your cosplay, has there ever been like what has been the cosplay that you're like, it was easy for the idea to come about or to execute, and what was one that was a little bit harder, where you're like, I almost don't know, like if I was gonna do this cosplay, but you ended up making it work.
um easy ones is if I see something online and I'm trying to replicate it. So like I did an artist It was a Grange Sakuna, and I find that was very easy for me because it was boom right there. And I was like, this is so dope and this is so cool, and I body painted it and I tagged them and they appreciated that. The hardest would be, again, any of the fantasy looks. And it's just coming up with how am I going to execute this? So it will take a little bit longer brainstorming, just pulling out pieces, trying to figure out how do I want this to look? How do I want to execute this? Um, would it come out the way that it's coming out in my head? No, it might look easy, but again, I find the whole concept of the creativity is it's what takes the longest time of coming to fruition, honestly, to me.
Mhm. That makes sense. And I know last year you were able to help because I know sometimes for BIPOC Ramp Day, where you're able to donate to help with sickle cell disease, and you were able to have the opportunity the last time when you collabed last year. So how was that experience for you?
It made me feel great that I was able to assist in some way possible, even if I'm not based in America, and just let everybody be aware of sickle cell. I've had people here in the Caribbean who actually died, but actually on my island, she was a wonderful teacher and also one of my hairstylists, and she died from well, she was pregnant and she also had sickle cell and she eventually died from complications. And we don't really have the means to actually try and deal with the treatment, you know, and just to know that, I can make a difference. Even she's not, even though she's not here, but even assisting in that kind of way, I could possibly help save somebody else's life. So it was extremely motivating and touching for me. I'm trying not to get emotional because I'm thinking about, oh no.
And yeah, well, I'm glad that you're able to give back and that you have the heart to give back because not everybody has like that inner intention to do that. I feel like you have to have that conviction to do that. So I'm proud of you for doing it. And I'm proud of you for always helping other creators and helping other people. And I would want to say, um, if you could tell anybody that wanted to start content creating, and especially like those in the Caribbean, because I know like representation for those in the Caribbean, and they want to reach out and they're like, I don't know if it's something that I can get into. What advice would you give them?
I'm going to say start small. Don't over complicate things. Pull out things out of your closet. Like for example, Kim Possible probably was one of my first cosplays that I did after the pandemic. It's easy to do. Um just again, start small, build up that confidence. Somebody actually I kind of asked that question to somebody for one of my interviews, and it was more of trying to build confidence in people. And she basically says, do a cosplay with a mask. Nobody will be able to see your face. And once you get accustomed and you feel confident a little bit, then you can slowly, decrease the mask instead of a full mask. It could be like a half mask until you completely take it off. So just start small, and just build up that confidence into the way that you want to be seen out there in this wonderful, beautiful, crazy geek community.
That's very true. And I want to say it's for you, I can say like throughout every year I've seen your cosplay, it's just gotten immensely better. Just from visual to creativity to the way you present it. I know you've put a lot of time and effort and probably all the lessons you've learned throughout your whole content creation journey. So I wanted to ask, what are some of those lessons you've learned to, keep growing or keep evolving or things to keep in mind that you take with you as you continue to do this? What are some of those like lessons that really stuck with you?
It is okay to start over. If you don't take it off, start over. Practice makes perfect. Like for example, I was never into makeup and I was horrible at it. And eventually I just started the looking at YouTube videos. I've taken some makeup classes and just started experimenting more and more and more. So again, practice makes perfect. Um it's okay to start over. If you don't like it, do it over again. Take things from your closet. Your closet is your best cosplay wardrobe. I will keep saying that and shout it to the moon. Um, and reach out to individuals and just say, "Hey, I need help." You're you're out there slowly collaborating and you're building that network. Utilize, your network and ask them, "Hey, how can I do this?" I They're going to keep hopefully.
Hi, Sean. And I wanted to ask, I know sometimes as creators we don't realize like the impact that we probably have on people. And I know I saw that like you've had fan art made of you, shout out to Denzel Draws, amazing artist. I love his life. He made art for you and a different other creators. And I would want to say like, has there been any like words of gratitude or experiences where you're just like, oh, I didn't even realize that people were like that impacted by what I do? I think sometimes we don't realize. Have you had those experiences?
Oh, well, the one for Denzel, that was a commission because I was very interested in his work and I wanted to support him. He was somebody I used to talk to a lot during the pandemic because we used to play like a lot of Animal Crossing. And I was so happy and grateful when he finally was able to find time to do the drawing of my big head. Um, and I totally love it. And then I think there was like two others that did drawings of me, and I was not expecting that. I was completely shocked, and I felt so honored and appreciative that they saw, the cosplay and they were inspired to do that drawing. So again, it's like that little extra boost of, oh my God, people actually like this. I swear,
Yeah.
I'm not like all crazy in the head. I really do feel honored and appreciative when people actually do take time out and comment. And I'm literally going to comment and respond to every single one of them once I see it. Because I do days later, like it'll say 3 days ago, and I'm like, wait, when?
It happens to all of us, honestly. We're just like, wait, I don't know where my brain went. I swear I reacted to this, and why is it a day later? I mean, sometimes it's the algorithm.
Yes. Really.
Especially especially nowadays. I have people with it just like, oh, I saw your post like 2 days later. I saw it a day later. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. We'll all see it collectively eventually. That's why, like you said, like a share, it really means a lot, especially when stuff like this is happening because you don't know when your content's being seen. To be honest.
Yes.
And one of the last questions I'll ask is how has this journey, cosplaying, sharing your love, getting to like build community and everything that you've done, how has that helped you out as a person? Because I know for some people it helps them out mentally or physically, or they learn new skills. It always turns into a better person in some sense. So how has it helped you?
It's all the above. It's more of these everybody that I've connected with is family to me. So I look at individuals out there, you're family to me that I haven't met as yet, and I know that we're going to be awesome. So yeah, that's how I that's how I truly feel.
No, that's amazing. That's actually like really sweet answer to that because it's true, especially when you create community in the way you have. And and I wanted to say, oh,
And no, I was saying that when you actually do see them is again, the biggest hug, the biggest smiles, the biggest embrace. It's like, oh, that could maybe in
yeah, I've had like, well, with Navy, yeah, but I mean, to be fair, I mean, if he's still watching, like I'm the one that squealed first. That was the funny part of the first year, first year or something. I squealed first. But you know, I've had people like they've seen me, here, and then like they'll hug me, or like they'll scream out from across the room, or they'll be like, "Hey," I'm like, "Oh, hi," like this. It's always warm and welcoming.
I guess in because people are so well, people know that I'm not American and I live in the Caribbean. So it's when they do see me, they're like, I did not is it just you? And I do get that a lot. And they're like, you go to conventions in the US? Like, like a big shock when they see like, yes, I'm real. I'm here. I'm real.
I mean, if you if so anybody that's met me in person, y'all know like I'm very chill. So like if at first the reaction is like it's not concern, it's just I'm trying to figure out who's calling out to me. It's so not used to that. And also I'm from Irvington, so originally it's like when people are screaming, I think it's danger. But then I realized it's not. So then I'm so that's the only thing. So I respond to him. I think at first I'm like, wait, oh, okay, because I'm still getting used to like people recognizing you by face. That's when you realize that you've shown your face often. When people can know just based off of your face, that's when you realize like, oh, okay, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually making content to the point where people can remember my face. So that's the only thing. But I love meeting you guys in person. It's the greatest.
Yeah, definitely. And then because I'm doing a lot of the interviews now, I guess because of all my TikToks and my posts, I don't really use my voice and
Yeah.
when people hear it, they're like, wait, that's it. Like they're like, yeah.
No, I understand. For me, because I was born here, I have family that's in the Caribbean. I mean, it depends on who I'm talking to. Maybe I have a little bit, but I don't have the full amount. So some people will be like, "Oh, I can hear it." Some people are like, "Oh, I didn't." So it's always half and half. So some people that are from the islands, who just like, they ask me where I'm from, and then they're like, "Oh," I'm like, "I didn't even realize." This is it comes under certain circumstances. I'm like, just let me know because sometimes I don't know when it comes out. It will just come out. That's the
Right? Basically to tell individuals I am not a good example of how BB Islanders sound. So don't call my voice. Um
I I agree. I agree.
like fine. People are definitely anybody from the Caribbean sound like when they're upset with you. That's when you're gonna need accent.
Yes, that that is so true. That's if not any other time, it's that. It's that's really
Definitely.
And I want to thank you so much for coming on. I hope you had a good time. And I wanted to give you the time now to plug in where you want people to follow you and to see what you're doing.
No problem. Hi guys, this is BBI Mermaid once again. You can find me on almost every platform except X. I'm not on actually, you know what? Let me tell you. So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Blue Sky, and hashtag and TikTok at BVI_mermaid.
Awesome. And I had such a pleasure talking to you. And thank you guys so much for showing so much support, for commenting so much. I really appreciate anybody that comes into the stream. I'm never not appreciative of it. And we're back on after our break. So I'll be sharing a video on our clips page because anybody that's on the show now, we put the video on our YouTube channel, and we have another Instagram page for clips so that it doesn't overshadow this page. I'll be putting a video for anybody that wants to know about the schedule because it's very like it's flexible, so people have the intervals, like, you have the form, you have the different times, and I'll try to do like a week by week because, 1 week it could be 2 days of 3 days or one day. It really depends. So we'll have another show on Sunday with Swift Stream PC. We'll also on Monday we'll have our interview with SJ Slay's cosplay. It'll be the second time she'll be on, so it'll be great. And then we'll have more shows, for the next 2 weeks, going into May. And definitely join the broadcast channel. That's where you see everything. I'm Anna Lizzie from AnimeInkArt. So some people know me from these shows. Supporting creators in the blurred/black community is part of the mission statement. So that's why you see me doing this. It started off as sharing people on my page, like I would do multiple posts and stories, people that were the OGs that was known as Anime Ink or Black Brand Spotlight. I make my own art. That's what the brand is for. So some of the art is here, support. Some of it is down there. I have merch for it. I vend in the tri-state when I get the chance. And sometimes you'll see me cosplay for that. And I've kind of extended it. So sometimes I'll cosplay just because. I was also shout out to Talking to War, an affiliate for them. And I'm part of their 2025 cosplays Black calendar. So definitely check out all those amazing cosplayers in the calendar. And I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. So thank you so much for the support in the past, few years. And thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. And I hope you have a great night. Bye. And enjoy the rest of the card.
So much, Lizzie, for inviting me to for this interview and having this amazing little fun chit chat with you. I think what you're doing is amazing. And again, the artwork that you did for tonight's show was immaculate.
Thank you. I promise you guys I'll have more on the way and more stuff. And so yeah, just keep on the lookout for it. And thank you so much and have a good rest of your weekend.
Hey.
Bye, bye guys.